Today on Law Weekly, we talk security and the National Conference. Former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State, Mr. Sashore, is our guest. He's a delegate at the conference, and on our interview segment, he shares the Lagos agenda for the conference. All that and more on this episode of Law Weekly on Channels Television. I am Shola Shuyele. Let's begin with a recap of some of the top legal stories in the news.
I have been governor.
The suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Lamido Sanusi, told the Federal High Court in Lagos last week Thursday that the proposed investigation by the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, FRCN, was designed to rubbish him and his tenure. Mr. Sanusi is before the court to challenge his invitation to appear before the FRCN panel set up to investigate allegations of financial recklessness made against him. In the suit, the suspended CBN governor listed the FRCN and its executive secretary Jim Obaze as first and second respondents. He alleges that the proposed investigation is tainted by bias, as the FRCN has already reached a predetermined conclusion and made recommendations even before the commencement of the investigation against him. Mr. Sanusi therefore wants the court to stop the FRCN from further investigating him, especially as the organization earlier indicted him without giving him the opportunity to defend himself. The FRCN, on its part, has asked the court to strike out the suit, insisting that Mr. Sanusi's fear of bias is misconceived and premature. Justice John Soho will give a verdict on the argument on the 12th of May. Another judge of the Federal High Court last week Monday fixed April the 25th for ruling on an application filed by the Lagos State government seeking a stay of execution of the judgment on the collection of toll on the LEKKI bridge. Justice Saliu Sadihu had on March the 27th declared collection of toll on the bridge illegal, saying there is no law in existence authorizing it. Dissatisfied with his judgment, the Lagos State government had filed an appeal and also urged Justice Saidu to stay the execution of his judgment pending the determination of the appeal before the Court of Appeal. The plaintiff, a Lagos-based lawyer, Ebunolu Adegborua, has asked the court not to grant the prayer for a stay of execution of judgment. He told the court that the Lagos State government had failed to obey the court's judgment of March the 27th, stressing that such practice constituted an affront to the powers of the court. At the Lagos High Court, trial continued last week in the case against 6 suspected killers of former governorship candidate of the PDP in Lagos, the late FUNSHO Williams. A prosecution witness, Professor John Obafunwa, told Justice Adeniyi Adebajo that Mr. FUNSHO Williams died from asphyxia, a lack of air intake due to manual strangulation. The witness, Professor Obafunwa, who is the chief forensic pathologist of Lagos State, said this was his post-mortem findings. The pathologist, while describing his findings to the court, also said there were deep bruises on the arms and legs of the deceased, which suggested that he tried to restrain somebody from inflicting those bruises on him before his death. Justice Adeniyi Adebajo has adjourned till the 7th of May for continuation of trial. 6 men are charged before his court for conspiring on the 27th of July to murder the late FUNSHO Williams at his Dolphin Estate home in IKOYI, Lagos. In Abuja, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mariam Aloma Mukhtar, last week Thursday, swore in Justice Zainab Bulkachua as the first female president of the Court of Appeal. At the swearing-in ceremony, which was witnessed by other judges, lawyers, family and friends, the CJN urged Justice Bulkachua to lead by example and not drag the name of the judiciary in the mud. She also urged her to shun all forms of political pressure she may encounter in the course of discharging her duties. Before the swearing-in, Justice Bulkachua has been acting as the president of the court for over a year before her appointment was confirmed as the substantive president by President Goodluck Jonathan last month. Justice Bulkachua, on her part, has promised to bring to the court leadership that will uphold the crusade against corruption, not only in the judiciary, but in Nigeria in general. And we round off on the foreign scene with the murder trial of Blade Runner Oscar Pistorius in South Africa's capital, Pretoria. Forensics expert Roger Dixon took the stand after the Olympic sprinter's 7 days of testimony came to an end with him reading a Valentine's card from his girlfriend. The athlete denies intentionally killing River Steenkamp in the early hours of February 14, 2013. He says he shot her in the toilet, mistaking her for an intruder. The prosecution says the 29-year-old model and law graduate was deliberately killed after the couple had an argument. Last week Thursday, Mr. Dixon, who is a defense witness, told the court his tests showed that with the lights out, Mr. Pistorius' bedroom would have been almost completely dark on the evening of the shooting, despite a couple of LED lights. His testimony supports Mr. Pistorius' evidence that he did not see whether Ms. Steenkamp was still in bed when he got up. Prosecution witnesses had testified to hearing a woman scream followed by gunshots, but the defense disputes their testimony, saying the only scream came from Mr. Pistorius after he had fired. Further hearing in the murder case has been fixed for the 5th of May.